Okay, this is version 1 of bullet journal. Flip through and start. Hello, so I'm Kimberly, and I'm here to do a flip through of my newest bullet journal. This is not my first time bullet journaling, but it is my first time talking about it on the internet while I'm making it. So, this is a composition book given to me by someone who was going to use it at a job and decided not to. That's fine. And so I'm going to flip through some of the pages to show how I did my layouts. Unfortunately, the camera's a little blurry because I only have one webcam. So here I put my name, which I've hidden because I don't need my contact info everywhere. Then I glued in a pocket here using from an old lanyard. And then here's the key. A lot of the things are standard, though I've created my own, such as ones for habit tracker apps I use, and for headers, which is just a diamond. And then down here I have a color key for priority, and this is just if I see a note that I want to use for a project or turn into a task, then I'll mark it with purple, and so I know to come back to it. And down here, this is for things like classes, or what I call binder sections, because I have a binder where I store additional notes. And to differentiate the two, these priority ones are use marker or highlighter, and these all use colored pencil. And I made sure, like if they both have yellow, they're different kinds of yellow. Like this is more of a standard yellow, and this is more like yellow-orange, for example. And index, pretty standard, but I've also put the kind of header that would be with it. So since these are bigger collections, they've got diamonds next to their name, which also helps for putting it in the upper right hand corner where I can put the same symbol with an abbreviation of what it is, which you'll see if you separate one. I'm going to skip a few pages so I can show you an blank future log in my furthest future log page. The nice thing about using a composition book is that you can really easily divide it up into smaller sections. So for example, this one is 2 centimeters for each column. I've only labeled the day of the week on the top and the month on the side. And then I just write very small on the lines given to me for each month. And this is because I used to use this for some story notes. It is also why I have 2 sets of numbering. One for everything that is opposite these story notes. And then after the story notes, it switches back. To normal numbering, so that the numbering can be consistent throughout the whole book. And then here I've already started getting ready for fall. So I made, once again, a chart for my schedule, times and days. How wide are these columns? Hang on. I got a ruler. So I made these columns just basically just over an inch wide. And there's 5 columns for the days of the week, and then Friday through Sunday. And so as to not spoil my entire schedule, I've covered it. Same thing with course info. So I made an example, but it was an old class and I didn't want to show it off. So basically this first column is going to have what the field is, and then the second column is going to describe it. So I made 2 columns. I have an extra page, and then we get to August. So this was an old sketchbook page that I repurposed because I like the idea of having a title page, but I didn't like the concept of having to make it if I already had thousands of drawings and thousands of sketchbook pages. So this is from my first semester taking art classes at college. And it reminded me of flowers, so the theme's hibiscuses with seafoam green and pink. And then I put my goals down here. And then, of course, I use these bookmarks to mark important pages that I need to come back to every day, because this does not have ribbons. And that's my monthly log. Each row uses 5 lines, and the width is just under 1.5 inches per column. And like the future log, I put the names up here, and I whited out areas so I could write long notes on the end, because I put the lines in first. And you can see the priority scale in use here with either colored text or highlights. And then this is my first time doing trackers, inspired by all of the people who draw in their bullet journal. So this is a horizontal mood tracker. Dates are along here, and I have little emojis here, and the squares will be filled in for each day, which will be great because if I have multiple moods, I can mark them all down, or I can draw additional emoji on the specific day as needed. Over here, I'm doing habit trackers in a very specific way because I use other apps, and both of them use colors to show how well they're going. So every week, I'll be marking the color that it is and whether or not it was better or worse than the beginning of the month. Then of course I have a list for Habitica events, which is one of the apps I use. And basically if something happens that I want to put in Habitica but my phone's dead or I don't want to log in, then I can write it down here and add it to the app later. And of course I've drawn hibiscus here, and in the center here where I didn't want to write in the monthly log. Since the paper's thin enough, I traced the same hibiscus from the other side for the first weekly log, and here I made a 7-column thing using the same 2 centimeter width per column, and this will be a timeline where I'll write down when ideally I'll be working on each project I have throughout the week, kind of like a net chart. And that was it for August, and then I went ahead and started migrating other things I plan on doing during the fall and onward, and ideas I had, because my previous journal is almost full except for this week and next week's weekly log. So this I made for fall. It is just a blank page, so as a workability and Department of Rehab recipient, I have tasks I have to do in order to stay in the program. So that is where these tasks will go, and if I get any messages and I need to write down anything that they say that's important, I'll put that here too. Here, Blue Sky, reference to Disney Imagineering. This is a blank idea pages that I've already held. So I already got ideas for September spread, and if you know what Let Us Listen Again is from, you already know the theme. And I will be discussing it when I make the pages for September. And more ideas, and more old ideas. Then we get into where my belief of reusing what I already have. So this is what I call a breakdown. This was from the previous book. And when I break down a project, I just call it a breakdown, and I have all the tasks listed. So once again, you can see I've broken down with diamonds, and then exclamation marks, and then tasks. And you can see I tape stuff in, and it goes on several more pages because I have several projects. And then we get to another spread from the previous book that I decided to copy this time. It's my habits. It's not a tracker, except for tracking which 5 habits I'm developing, so I don't try to develop too many at once. And I have the conditions for how they will be considered developed and where I'll be ready to move on to the next one. Here I save some space so I can write tips for myself. So if I like any pitfalls, I can write them down. And then in the back here, I have all the habits I would like to develop written in pencil so that as I add them to the other page, I can remove them. And then here in pen is where the habits I've already developed. Some developed before I started the spread, and one that I already developed but while using this page in the previous book, which is exciting. And that is it for that. The rest of the book's pretty much blank. And then in the back here, I've used a binder clip to binder clip extra mail and stuff I've received, and just stuff I gotta read and decide if I want to act on them. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching this, and yeah, and I guess I'll figure out when the next video is. This is not a habit I've developed in a long time, so hopefully it'll come out soon. And I hope you all have a good day. Bye.